Okay. Hello, everybody. We are here for another episode of the Love Your Liver live stream, episode number 127. Today, we're going to go over, well, someone on my Instagram sent me a message about a post by the Weston A. Price Foundation regarding how important vitamin A is to fertility. And I thought I would do my little expose of the horse shite that this is. So let's start. Joe, if you can show this post, we're going to kind of come back to this post a couple of times. Hey, fish eggs. Spelling an A. Isn't that nice? So let me just start going on to this post, and we'll just address it piece by piece. So Joe, we're going to be flipping back and forth between windows here. So here we have what is behind the decline in fertility and how do we fix it? The answer could be vitamin A. Note that true vitamin A is not found in plant foods, only animal foods. And they want you to read their journal. So let's go over some things here. There is more vitamin A in our human diets now than there has ever been before. Absolutely more. They feed the cows vitamin A, the cow, so they feed them supplements if they're grass-fed. Their freaking butter is bright yellow. There's plenty of vitamin A. They fortify milk with vitamin A if they pasteurize it. The US actually, the FDA decided that we don't have to label vitamin A on food, label vitamin A content on foods anymore because deficiency is so rare in the US. And yet this group continues to promote that there's vitamin A deficiency everywhere. They are completely wrong. Now, about vitamin A in plant foods, and they'll talk about true vitamin, plant vitamin A, animal vitamin A, true vitamin A. Okay. There is no animal vitamin A without plant vitamin A. Cows process carotenoids, plant vitamin A, into animal vitamin A. Humans do this too. We don't need carotenoids and we don't need vitamin A. And I will show this again, as I've done so many times before. Okay. So we're still on this. Why don't healthcare practitioners recommend sources of vitamin A to infertile couples? We'll get into this. There's only one vitamin that they really talk about not taking during pregnancy, if you didn't know. It's vitamin A to prevent birth defects. Now, as we'll be connecting for you soon, vitamin A has been shown to cause folate deficiency. Hey, isn't there birth defects associated with folate deficiency? Wouldn't it be weird if vitamin A toxicity and folate deficiency caused exactly the same types of birth defects? They do. So, but they're saying here that the converse is actually true. Inadequate vitamin A can cause birth defects. No. What causes the birth defects, as I'll show you, is zinc deficiency. And in modern medicine, where they don't understand vitamin A metabolism, when there's not enough zinc, you get vitamin A stuck in the liver, and then you have both a zinc deficiency and a vitamin A toxicity problem. So they just misinterpret it because they go by levels in the blood. These are all things I've been over before. There's the Instagram link. And so when they're talking about here, there is second widespread belief is that there is a low population risk of vitamin A deficiency in developed nations, and that it is only in low-income countries that vitamin A deficiency is common. Actually, you know what? I want to go find my... Let me go find that right now. Let me go find that quote on my Twitter. So just so you guys know, if you're not on Twitter and you want to see the stuff, the random thoughts and the smackdowns that I like to give every day, Let me go find this post. Okay. Hey there. Here it is. My favorite quote about vitamin A. It has been demonstrated that vitamin A intake among well-nourished subjects may lead to decreased life quality and increased mortality rates. That's your life sucks and you die sooner. There's the translation. Okay. And this is from the neurotoxic effects of vitamin A and retinoids. So, what do you think vitamin A does to fertility in well-nourished people? It's probably not good. But well-nourished people who have enough protein and zinc in their diets will tend to have higher levels of vitamin A in their blood. I've been over this a bunch of times. So then they think they're not deficient. But Weston Price says you may still be deficient. It's just the biggest nonsense. Okay. So let me go into some of this stuff. Liver is the best dietary source of vitamin A. Liver is the best source of all sorts of toxic stuff, including vitamin A and copper, which I'll show you. There is more copper, higher copper levels in infertile women. So let's just go into it. I don't really care what they say anymore. We're just going to destroy all of it. Let's just destroy all of it. It'll be fun. This is what I do. So vitamin A supposedly is necessary for pregnancy and healthy infants. Now, this is one post. I'll go to the main thread on this one. But this is just one tweet of my vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist thread on Twitter. Here's the quote. The mean, as in the average liver vitamin A stores in, very important words here, apparently healthy infants is lower, ranging from 0. Wait, let me emphasize that number. 0 to 320 micrograms per gram of liver. How are these children alive? How are they even alive? How were they born? How did the pregnancy happen? Someone please explain this to me. Apparently healthy infants. Obviously, the authors felt it necessary to say this because they were surprised that these infants could be healthy with 0 vitamin A in their liver. It's not an essential vitamin, folks. It's a Psyop. So, I would love to see them argue this. Please. WAPF. And just so you know, folks, I have several Weston A. Price Foundation chapter leaders who have come to me to recover their health from poisoning themselves with this bad advice. I'm not here to pull punches. I'm here to spit nutrition truth and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. This is what we're here to do. It's a lie. They may have good intentions, but their information sucks. So, the teratology, let's go into the next thing about birth defects. Birth defects and vitamin A. The Teratology Society. This is an entire society in medicine. They specialize in knowing what to do to prevent birth defects. They suggest that pregnant women get less than 3,000 units, IUs, of vitamin A from all sources. When they say all sources, class, do they mean supplements alone? Do they mean cod liver oil? Do they mean liver? Do they mean carrots? Do they mean whatever? They mean all sources, food included, because the toxicity... Oh, wait, let me go back. The toxicity of vitamin A, it has been shown, giant study by Rodal back in the 50s, that when you take the exact same form of vitamin A in a natural source or a synthetic source, and you give the exact same doses, it causes the exact same toxicity reactions in animals. Scientists use the exact same way of analyzing vitamin A in a synthetic form and versus a natural form. If it's the same form in both, it does the same thing. If you want to join the crowd out there who's trying to say that somehow the same chemical compound in a food acts wildly differently than the same chemical compound in a supplement, it's on you to prove that. You would have to prove that the science that you use to justify eating vitamin A in a food and identifying vitamin A in a food makes that compound somehow different than when it's in a supplement and made in the lab. That's not science, folks. You're not trusting anything about science if you're doing that. So anyway, the average American diet, the SAD, the standard American diet, the SAD diet, people get 7,000 to 8,000 units of vitamin A day from that. Scientists are telling people to get less than half of that if they want to avoid birth defects. That's weird, right? Shouldn't pregnant women need more vitamin A? If it was a vitamin, like right, they're making a whole new person. They should need more. How could a baby be born with 0? Did I put this link in? I don't remember. I'm kind of feeling feisty lately. If you didn't see my Twitter this morning, I definitely feisty. Oh, let me get this. Here's the study link. And I'll go show it. We'll do a couple things on this one. Let me open this up. Come on. Dietary reference intakes. This is a huge, huge paper. 773 pages right there. You're welcome to look through it. So now, let me go and get the whole thread for this. Come on, baby. You can get there. There we go. So the whole vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist thread. This is one of my, I consider it one of my masterpieces of calling BS on the whole thing. So now, we did that. We did this. I mean, seriously, if the Birth-defect Society, if Weston A. Price Foundation is trying to say that too little vitamin A produces birth defects, and the Birth-defect Society on their website doesn't mention a vitamin A deficiency anywhere, and there were infants, that's basically soon after they're born, with 0 vitamin A in their liver, and they're apparently healthy. Who's wrong here? I don't think it's me. So now, the Weston A. Price Foundation loves cod liver oil. They love cod liver oil. What does cod liver oil do in animals? When they are force-fed it, just like people have to force feed their children this disgusting liver extract juice. Don't think that cod liver oil is a supplement. I mean, how in the world can anybody call any kind of oil, extracted oil, a food? It's not a food. It's the definition of an extract. Okay? It's processed. That's how they make oil. So let's go. Quote, Agder investigated the effects of cod liver oil upon several animal species and described abnormalities such as suppression of growth, leukopenia, that's low white blood cells, hemorrhage of the myocardium, degeneration of heart muscle, let's keep going, edema of the lungs, and necrosis, tissue death of the liver. Slagsvold, I'm guessing he's from the northern European countries where they eat a lot of cod liver oil, observed that cod liver oil poisoned cattle with stiffness and muscle lesions as symptoms. That would be too much calcium. In another study, the toxicity of cod liver oil in calves was manifested as severe muscular dystrophy. And this was another one from the animal studies. The rats fed cod liver oil were sterile. And this is the reference on that. Can't find it online. So let's go back. So this is the cod. This is my cod liver oil thread. Another one of my favorite ones. Put the whole thread here. There we go. Fish oils are garbage, folks. Don't eat them. So now we've done, let's see, we've done children born with 0 vitamin A, perfectly healthy infants. We've got birth defect. The Birth-defect Society says nothing about vitamin A deficiency, and they definitely say that pregnant women should get less vitamin A than normal. We have cod liver oil causing birth defects. And then now I want to go through, since they like vitamin A so much, this is my video from this channel. So you can just find it on the YouTubes. Birth control ruins health. Here's the science of how. Now I'm going to summarize this whole video for you. It has been known since 1975 in the research that birth control pills, hormonal birth control pills, raise vitamin A levels in the blood, and they raise copper levels in the blood. Is it raising natural vitamin A or synthetic vitamin A? It does. You see how stupid it gets? Which one is it? And then they're going to be like, oh no, it's raising artificial vitamin A. Prove it. Prove it, please. You sound silly. It's called the appeal to nature fallacy, when people say somehow natural things are always good and unnatural things are always bad. I'm going to guess the mercury in fish is good, but the mercury in fillings is bad. No, they're both bad. It's mercury. Sometimes a toxin is just a toxin. So, since 1975, they have known something that makes women infertile, raises the vitamin A levels in their blood and raises the copper levels in their blood. Wouldn't it be weird then if the copper IUD, something actually made of copper, made women infertile? Cod liver oil made the rats sterile. The Teratology Society says take in less vitamin A than normal. Are you catching a pattern here? Did I put this? I put this link in there. Yes, I did. Okay. So, I mean, I could hammer on vitamin A all day. Oh, wait, you know what I actually didn't do? Let me get my Bill Gates thread. I got to find it again. So, Bill Gates, something that I'm sure the Weston A. Price Foundation may or may not like is that Bill Gates loves vitamin A. Bill Gates loves vitamin A. He wants to, let me show you here. Oh, for those of you who are still stuck on the ivermectin and the fenbendazole is going to save the world and all this stuff, ivermectin causes infertility. I've been over that in a whole nother study. Azoles, albendazole, also pushed by Bill Gates. Azole, that also slows your detox system and increases vitamin A in your system. Do you think, are you out there thinking that Bill Gates wants you to live? Or do you think that Bill Gates would love for there to be less people around and especially less children around? These are the things that Mr. Gates supports. In his own words, less people, pokies, not alive babies, and azole medications. And then we get into all the vitamin A stuff. So Bill Gates, I'm just going to say this, he gives women prenatals Do you remember that stat I gave you about what the Teratology Society said? Women should get less vitamin A than 3,000 units a day. Bill Gates and the Vitamin Angels help provide multivitamins to women in third world countries. Guess how much vitamin A is about in each of the multivitamins that they give them? 3,000. What's the number they wanted women to be below? 3,000. So therefore, if you eat food, are you going to be automatically above 3,000 into the birth defect area? Yes, you are. Wow, what a weird coincidence. Mr. Gates has supported genetically modified foods to be grown that make vitamin A. He's behind golden rice. He's behind vitamin A producing bananas. He's trying to make what they call bio fortified foods, which is like hybridized foods that make even more vitamin A. Bill Gates loves vitamin A. Let me find it. Yeah, here's the multivitamin part. Vitamin Angels, who Bill Gates funds. Prenatal vitamins, 2,667 IUs. And then they also give 2 times a year mega dose vitamin A supplements to children. What's the best way to cause vitamin A toxicity all at once? Oh, just give them mega doses all at once. They were really upset. Oh, the Bill Gates thread. Got it. There's the Bill Gates thread in the chat. So in 3 countries, they try to keep saying that like Africa's deficient in vitamin A, and yet 3 studies, three different countries showed that like liver biopsy, like 50% of the people were by definition vitamin A toxic. Yeah, golden rice. So these are the products that Bill Gates has been working on. Genetically modified golden rice. So it's rice that's yellow because it makes carotenoids. Genetically modified bananas. And biofortified cassava root. And this was all on their website. There it is. Look, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, nutritious rice and cassava aim to help millions fight malnutrition. They're even making a genetically modified probiotic, Bacillus cereus, HU36, which makes carotenoids that are more bioaccessible and bioavailable about 4.5 times as high than beta carotene. Do you know that there's papers? Here, let's do this. Carotenoids sludge PubMed. Find it. Come on, show it to me. They made carotenoids out of like sewage sludge. I won't worry about it. Anyway, birds of a feather flock together, right? So they're making probiotics. And then this also used to be advertised under Megaspore, the Megaspore biotic, and then there was another one out on the market. They bragged about it making carotenoids in your intestines. So that Megaspore biotic was in line with Bill Gates making a genetically modified bacteria to make vitamin A in your gut. Imagine if it was making so much that it was too much. Vitamin Angels. They're going to give albendazole with vitamin A, fenbendazole with ivermectin, and vitamin A, because Americans get so much vitamin A. Now, oh yeah, this is I think we get into this one next, the natural and synthetic forms of vitamin A. Because that's what the Weston Price Foundation loves to claim. That's what the protocol people love to claim. Everybody loves to claim that somehow these are different. This was a fun one. Let's just hit this one. This was from a textbook, a high school chemistry book. Vitamin A. toxic response to vitamin A, convulsions, unconsciousness, reproductive toxin. That seems pretty straightforward. Let's go back. We're going to build from here, as I said. What happens to rats given excess vitamin A? Quote, uterine hemorrhages in pregnant rats given excess of cod liver oil, reported by Hartwell back in 1927. Do you think they had good quality cod liver oil back in 1927? If there is such a thing? They were reproduced. Okay, so science is based upon being able to reproduce things. One scientist does it, and then another scientist reproduces it to validate it. Reported by Hartwell, 1927, were reproduced by Moore and Wang, 1945, also in animals given halibut liver oil or vitamin A acetate. Wow. So you're saying natural and synthetic sources of vitamin A are both toxic? Wow, that's so weird. They interpreted this hemorrhage as a special manifestation of the general liability to hemorrhage in hypervitaminosis A. Huh. Unique to vitamin A. So we're still in Rodal. From these observations, it is evident that a higher incidence of sterility, that's infertility if you didn't know, being unable to have offspring, was detected in the hypervitaminotic rats than in normal animals. Hypervitaminotic rats were considerably less fertile than the normal control rats or rats given excess of vitamin A in subtoxic doses. Joe, I'm not going to give links to every one of these. I'll get the main link for the thread already. The main thread, if you guys want to, I'll get that when we're done. This appears to be due to the hypervitaminotic condition of the mothers, since no improvement of fertility occurred when hypervitaminotic females were mated with normal males. Ladies, I have bad news. If you get vitamin A toxic, it affects you more than men. You got to carry this kid for 9 months. It's more stress on you than it is on men. But then we get to see what vitamin A does to the sperm in men too. On the other hand, there appeared to be an absence of libido in rats given massive doses of vitamin A. Well, gosh, if you can make the women infertile and the guys don't even want to have sex, it's a really good way to reduce the number of humans on the planet, isn't it? In this connection, it may be of interest to note that Sherwood and collaborators in 1936 reported that excess of carotene stops estrus and libido in rats. So the estrus is the reproductive cycle that some mammals have. Carotenoids are plant vitamin A. Apparently it's toxic too. Who would have known? So this is the Rodal paper. If you want to see this one, this link should, well, let me open it up. This link should work. This is a huge paper. So I want you to understand what Rodal did with this paper. Rodal, this paper, Hypervitaminosis A, a study of the effect of excess of vitamin A in experimental animals, by, I don't know how to say his name, Kare Rodal. Where does it say how many pages it is? Anyway, this is like a 54-page paper. He did experiments in multiple animals. He did pregnant. He did, early firstborn, like older ones. He did different types of animals. This guy, this is like one of the most amazing papers you'll ever read. And if anybody ever tries to badmouth this paper, they shouldn't be allowed to. 236 pages, sorry. This is insane. This whole paper is just bonkers. So that's that link. Studies in animals indicate that natural forms of vitamin A are teratogenic. They knew this back in the 50s. More from Rodol. There is a very high mortality, aka death, of the young from hypervitaminotic mothers during the lactation period. And symptoms of hypervitaminosis A were observed in the young a few days after birth. This seems to indicate that vitamin A transferred to the young through the mother's milk, which was found to contain huge amounts of vitamin A, is sufficient to cause hypervitaminosis A in the young, since the symptoms and post-mortem findings observed in the young during the lactation period were identical with hypervitaminosis A, and no other findings were detected which could be taken as the cause of death. A rapid improvement took place in the young when the mother's milk was exchanged by ordinary basal diet in the one case examined. People often try to talk about, well, why would vitamin A be in mother's milk if it's not supposed to be there? Just because it's called a vitamin doesn't mean it's supposed to be there. Ladies, you detox all sorts of toxins into your milk, going straight into your kid. I'm not. Let me couch this. Breast is best. Okay, but like, when you're in a good medical place and they give you a drug, sometimes when you're nursing, they'll tell you don't nurse your baby while you're on this medication because your baby's going to be basically medicated with this because it comes out in the breast milk. Okay. All sorts of toxins, forever chemicals, pesticides, they come out in the breast milk. Does that mean that they're good for you and that they're good for the baby and that they're supposed to be there? No, fat soluble toxins come out of the fatty tissue of the breast into the milk. We all have to take responsibility for the things that we do to ourselves and potentially do to others. Ladies, if you're toxic, you could be poisoning your child through your milk. I'm sorry. If you had a kid who was born okay and then they got sick and you were doing things that was not good for your milk, this is just the way it is. Funny thing, retinol, OL, is an alcohol. What's the other big thing you're not supposed to have during pregnancy, ladies? Isn't that alcohol, ethanol? Wow, what a weird pattern. So again, breast is best. What I'm saying for you ladies is if you're going to do stuff like if you want to get pregnant, but you're worried about you being toxic now with all you've learned, I would suggest you do the Love Your Liver program for about at least 6 months before you try to get pregnant. Don't try to start the detox while you're pregnant. Don't try to start the detox and then get pregnant right after it. Why do I do this? Because if I take extreme responsibility for the advice or the suggestions that I might make. And because in the earliest phases of detox is potentially when you could detox the hardest and put more vitamin A into your blood and potentially cause a problem for the fetus. So I say, I want you detoxing at least 6 months to get past the earliest hump before you get pregnant. Okay. So let's just go through humans with vitamin A. Remember the uterine hemorrhage as a special manifestation of the general liability of hemorrhage in hypervitaminosis A. So let's continue. The presence of ultrasonographically detected subchorionic hemorrhage increases the risk of miscarriage, stillbirth, abruptio placentae, and preterm labor. The presence of bleeding alone appears to increase the risk of miscarriage. I'm not going to post all these links. You guys can just go and look at this thread if you want. So I'm just connecting the bleeding with the vitamin A. Women threatened miscarriage had a significantly increased incidence of antepartum before childbirth hemorrhage due to placenta previa or antepartum hemorrhage of unknown origin when compared with those without first trimester bleeding. You guys can read that more. And then people will say, oh, it's a vitamin K deficiency. Okay. Well, here we have this link quoting, on this basis, indigestible oils and retinoic acid, that's vitamin A, may be useful agents for the production of simple vitamin K deficiency in mammalian species, aka mammals. Okay. There's actually 2 papers showing that they could. Where'd it go? See, this is why. Okay, let's go over this. Okay, if you are watching and you want to go, let's see if it's on here. Nope, they just sent me to a generic page. People were wanting to be given links to all these things. I put the link here. The link used to work. It says article, abstract, right? And then it's got, look, if you can see it right there, you see all those numbers. That means it was to a very specific thing. This website, the Journal of Nutrition, got rid of that page. They turned it into something else. So what you need to know, one of the reasons I do this, so I put the quote here so you could search for the quote. I actually went to their journal page thinking they wouldn't change it. It's weird how papers that I specifically look at seem to get lost on the internet or disappear. But, there's probably nothing weird there. I don't want to read all this. This is just... Oh, this is a good one, though. Let's say, so they're warning people about high vitamin A intakes. Let's do this one. For you health nuts, or those of us who have tried to eat sweet potatoes and carrots and arugula and spinach and liver and egg yolks and dairy, and you want your bright orange egg yolks and your very yellow, butter and all. Oh gosh. Quote, concern regarding teratogenicity. Okay, I'm going to get it. As in birth defect inducing quality of vitamin A in humans began with the study conducted by Rothman et al., which concluded that total vitamin A intake in pregnant women of over 15,000 units per day in the diet, or more than 10,000 units in the form of supplements, because that's supplements plus the diet. Remember, the average diet was 7,000 to 8,000 a day. Increases the risk of abnormalities in the development of neural crest tissues, on which 13-cis-retinoic acid has a teratogenic effect. Let's go over that. 13-cis-retinoic acid is Accutane. Here's the important part. Intakes of this order, 15,000 units a day from food or 10,000 units a day from supplements plus food, are not rare. Is not rare another way of saying fairly common? In populations of high-income countries like the US, maybe, whose habitual diet contains higher levels of vitamin A than those recommended, and who often consume vitamin supplements and or foods rich in preformed vitamin A, such as liver. And here's the other quote I like so much. So anyway, I'm gonna link this. I think there's enough there. Y'all can go and read that for yourself. But this is my Bill Gates thread. Possibly one of my best threads. And they changed the website. Okay, this is the cod liver oil thread. This is the birth control one. Okay, so while we're here, copper. The Weston Price Foundation likes to suggest that you eat liver so you can get lots of copper. The protocol people push lots of copper. The revolution people push lots of copper. And the Ray Peters push lots of copper. How do I know this? Because I have lots of people who were broken by these fools. How do I know about it? Because I did most of it. So if any of you think that I'm coming at you from a place of, I already did the mistake. I did the Ray Pete thing. I got so fat on it. I did the Weston Price thing. I spoke at a Weston Price convention on nightshades. I did the Weston Price thing. I never did the protocol thing. Thank goodness. And the copper revolution thing is just insanity. So, gosh, what does copper do to fertility? Okay, well, let's do this. There's a copper IUD. By definition, it makes you infertile. Does that tell us something? But let's read this from this other paper. Wilson's disease patients treated with zinc successfully delivered babies. Okay, if you don't know, Wilson's disease is a genetic inability of getting rid of copper. Like these people, their copper metabolism is broken. Their copper detox is broken. They accumulate copper. Wilson's disease patients treated with zinc successfully delivered babies because zinc interfered with the absorption of copper from the gastrointestinal tract. It also helps get it out of the liver. We can go over that. These findings led to the hypothesis that infertile patients, normal women who are infertile, with high serum copper concentrations, too much copper in their blood, may have implantation failure due to excess accumulation of copper ions. Continuing. Our single-center retrospective study suggests that high serum copper concentrations, as in a high copper to zinc ratio, are a risk factor for implantation failure. Copper toxicity, zinc deficiency. That's how you would get a high copper to low zinc ratio. I mean, oh yeah, but go eat liver. No, don't. Really, don't. Don't eat a lot of copper and a lot of vitamin A in liver. Why do you think your liver is trying to hold all that stuff away from your reproductive organs? It's trying to protect your reproductive organs from these toxins. Here's an interesting thing. A literature review of the effects of copper intrauterine devices on blood copper levels in humans. Now, I want you to remember that your liver can store copper and does store copper and does accumulate it. 4 studies showing significant increases in blood copper levels with use of IUDs. Now, they do say 8 didn't show an increase, but I'm going to tell you that's because your liver's storing it as fast as it's coming out. And in these, let's say 4 studies with these other women, their liver was not able to store it as fast as it came out. Oh, but then they add this at the end. This is a good little addition. Investigators in all studies reviewed appeared to have evaluated for total copper rather than free copper. Free copper is the worst of all. It means your body has not bound a protein to it, various copper binding proteins, to protect you from the copper. Ceruloplasmin is made to bind to copper to protect you from the copper. GHK is made by the body to bind to copper to protect you from the copper. If you don't have the things to protect you from the copper and you have free copper wandering around, it's worse for you. This does not mean that bioavailable copper is anything other than pseudoscience. So which raises questions about the clinical significance of all research on this subject to date. Wait, they brought into question all the research on copper IUDs to date. Do I bring up questions in the research? So now, let's go into another thing that, people like to push. Ray Peters like to push eating shellfish. Other groups like to push eating shellfish or fish for fertility. Mercury. Mercury is always one of the fun ones where people go, the dose makes the poison. And I go, okay, what dose of mercury is not a poison? They never have a good answer for that one. Why is that? I say, when is mercury not a poison? Or one man's food is another man's poison. Is there somebody that mercury's good for? Or hormesis. What's the hormesis dose of mercury that helps you to be healthier? Like sometimes, folks, a poison is just a poison. If it's not an essential nutrient, And there are obvious toxic doses when you get too high, and you can notice symptoms. What's the dose that doesn't cause problems? I don't want to try to find that out. Okay. Quote, here's the quote. Higher blood mercury concentration is associated with male and female infertility. Higher seafood consumption is associated with elevated blood mercury concentrations in our infertile population. Mercury stuff is actually fairly easy to fix. You get the mercury fillings out of your mouth with a good dentist from the IAOMT, as it says here. This is their website, and that's their Twitter handle. And you stop eating fish and shellfish. You just don't eat it. It's not hard. And then you make sure if you're willing to test and not guess, then what we do is we fix your zinc and your selenium, which are two critical minerals for getting rid of getting rid of mercury and cadmium, which are both found in fish and shellfish. And if you think the zinc in like oysters or whatever is good for you, I'm going to tell you that it's there because the oyster needed to protect itself from the copper and mercury that's in it. They have the same defense mechanisms that we do. A lot of the most supposedly nutrient-dense foods are that way because the animal needed to protect itself from the toxins that were there. Why do you think they say liver is the most nutrient-dense food? Now you should understand. The liver has the most toxins. Okay? There's reasons for this. It's more important to eat low toxin foods than it is to eat nutrient dense foods. And let's go over this one because I've shown that. So when you do not get enough zinc, I'm not even going to go over protein energy malnutrition in pregnancy. Like, ladies, if you're not eating enough protein, you're going to have a really rough pregnancy. In naturopathic medical school, my ND midwife, obstetrics teacher said that what she got a lot was like with preeclampsia in young women. These young women would get preeclampsia, the high blood pressure with pregnancy. And she said all she had to do to fix it was get them on 100 grams of protein, total protein a day. That's it. She said, if you have them on 100 grams of total protein a day, they will not get preeclampsia. I mean, she's like having them eat like even garbage protein shakes and stuff like that. But that's all she had to do to fix that. Like protein energy malnutrition, you're making a whole new human. If you don't get enough protein, it's really hard to make a human. You understand? Like if you wanted to build a Lego Death Star and you don't have enough Legos, you're not going to build it. This should make sense. So here we go. Zinc and reproduction. Zinc is extreme. Oh, and then the other thing I was telling you about. So they'll say that vitamin A is low in the blood. And this causes all these problems. And then what if I show you papers in the vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist thread that show that if you don't have enough zinc, then you get low vitamin A in your blood. And if you take zinc, it raises the vitamin A in your blood. But zinc is not vitamin A. So where was that vitamin A stuck? In your liver. So a lot of times when they say there's a vitamin A deficiency, it's really actually a zinc deficiency. And now let's look at all the different things that zinc does. Zinc deficiency does to reproduction. Zinc and reproduction, effects of zinc deficiency on prenatal and early postnatal development. If you ever need to find a paper that I look at here and you can see it on the screen, you can search for the title or you can search for the PubMed ID. So you would just take this number. It's only like 8 digits. You would copy it. You would put it up in the search engine. And it will take you to exactly the same paper. Okay? Except now I lost my highlighting. There it is. Okay. 44 years ago, zinc deficiency in mammals was shown to be teratogenic. That means birth defect inducing. Maternal, motherly zinc deficiency produces effects ranging from infertility and embryo/fetal death, aka miscarriage, to intrauterine growth retardation and teratogenesis. Postnatal, that's after birth, complications of maternal zinc deficiency can also occur and include behavioral abnormalities. This would be like depression, ladies. Impaired immunocompetence, that's bad immune system, and an elevated risk for high blood pressure in the offspring. So your own deficiencies and toxicities while you're pregnant can affect your children later. Now, zinc deficiency. So vitamin A toxicity and copper toxicity both fight against zinc. You need zinc to counteract copper excess and vitamin A excess. So these can all be, whatever they're looking at, they might find zinc deficiency. If they're looking for that, they might find vitamin A toxicity if they're looking for that, or copper toxicity. They're all the same thing. It has been suggested that developmental zinc deficiency in humans can present a significant challenge to the conceptus. That's the baby. Increasing, I believe. Let me just double check that. I don't know that I've come across that word. Product of conception at any point between the fertilization and birth. The fetus or embryo. Okay, got it. So, can present a significant challenge to the conceptus, increasing the risk for numerous defects, not just spina bifida, not just the neural tube defect, multiple defects. Developmental zinc deficiency can occur through multiple pathways. Vitamin A toxicity, copper toxicity. Anyway, and the concept that acute phase response induced changes in motherly zinc metabolism may be a common cause of embryonic and fetal zinc deficiency is presented. Potential mechanisms underlying the teratogenic effects of zinc deficiency are reviewed. The potential value of maternal zinc supplementation in high-risk pregnancies is discussed. This is like where they try to say that vitamin A deficiency can cause night blindness and dry eye and may cause skin problems. And then I come back and I go, well, okay, so zinc deficiency will cause vitamin A to get stuck in the liver and it doesn't come out, and so you become more toxic. And then you say, well, what does zinc deficiency do? And you go, 200 plus enzymes. And they're like, vitamin A deficiency can cause one birth defect. And then we go, well, what does zinc cause? Birth defect, and we just go on and on and on, and we start layering on the amount of evidence that points towards just a misinterpretation or a psyop around vitamin A is very much in effect. So this was another video I did. Joe, let's go here. If I missed any links, Joe, just tell me. Again, this is the research showing that folate, the big thing to prevent birth defects, is depleted by vitamin A. Weird that those would go together too. Wait, vitamin A toxicity depletes zinc and folate. Copper toxicity depletes zinc. Zinc can cause all sorts of birth defects. Zinc deficiency can cause all sorts of birth defects. Are you seeing the connection here? What do the elite want to take away from you? Red meat. What is the best source of zinc in your diet? Red meat. Do you not see it happening, folks? Maybe the last link, we'll get this. Let me go find the vitamin A. I think I did the vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist. This is all part of a grand plan. Sometimes seeing the whole plan, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who really sees this much of the plan, and I know I don't even see all of it. I was made to come here and teach people about this plan. Let me see. I think that's all I have on this. So, okay, let me move this over so I can see myself now. Oh, I got that. Joe, can you take that off the screen? There we go. Thank you. So I don't get the window effect. So now let's get to these super chats. Let me move this over too, so I'm not looking over here. Okay, let's go find those super chats. Thank you for the super chats, y'all. So anyway, just a summary of the misinformation. Vitamin A can do things. Poisons do things. I want you to understand. The whole basis of the pharmaceutical industry is that they are using poisons to do things. Poisons can relieve symptoms. Could infertility be a symptom? Sure. Could somebody take a bunch of vitamin A and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we finally got pregnant? Yes, this can happen. And then what the research shows is that their kids are super allergic and asthmatic. And if you look in that Weston Price Instagram post, you'll see women saying, my kids now have an egg intolerance. Well, gosh, what do you think the kid's body doesn't want anymore? It's toxic in vitamin A. Maybe some of these women doing the Weston Price thing, they were just under eating. Maybe they came from veganism and all of a sudden they start eating meat and eggs and dairy and they're just not under eating anymore. And boom, they get pregnant. There can be all sorts of explanations for why they finally got pregnant. What I can tell you is that we have lots of women who finally get pregnant on the program or get pregnant again on the program, and they find that these pregnancies are the easiest ones they have. If you're here right now, or if you come here later to watch this video, and you are working in the Love Your Liver program or with me directly, and you had easier pregnancies, or you finally we had one woman 5 years of unexplained infertility, and then she finally got pregnant after a year of work with me. So it was 6 years, but 5 years before me and a year of working with me, then she finally got pregnant. Women have easier deliveries in this work. But if you have any of that stuff, please comment below, comment in the chat. Make sure to like and subscribe the video and all that jazz. And now let's get to the super chats. But don't think that vitamin A is going to make you pregnant. Don't do more copper. It's infertility toxin. That's what they use it for. Don't eat fish and shellfish and get the mercury out of your mouth. Like, those are all just basic things. So we have, okay, M&M's up. Let's see. Upcoming episode suggestion: Nutrition Detective's view on cholesterol and cholesterol levels, good and bad cholesterol, and whether high cholesterol is good. High cholesterol is not good. Okay. I'm going to hit on this real quick. Studies have shown, and this makes sense to me knowing what I know about the liver. I'm going to do the same thing. If you're in the Love Your Liver program, I talk about over and under types. Over and under types, it's not a set in stone thing, but generally over types are overweight and they tend to have lots of really high values on labs. They just got too much stuff going on. Under types tend to be underweight, and we often see low patterns on their labs, like things are stuck in their liver. Okay. Over types often have high cholesterol, and under types those are the people that we would tend to see low cholesterol in. Let me give you the general thing from the research about longevity, mortality, longevity, whatever you want to call it, length of life. Okay, being obese is not good for the length of your life. We all know that, right? But you know what they never tell you is that people who are underweight actually die sooner in general than obese people. Underweight people, their liver is in worse shape. And what we see with people who work the program is over time, underweight people are then able to finally start gaining weight. They don't have to shove 5,000 calories down their cake hole to finally gain 5 pounds. They start naturally holding on to better weight. And people who made the mistake of doing the Ray Peat stuff or whatever, and they start actually, kind of watching their caloric intake a little bit, but maybe they're taking in lots of, generally low fat, high soluble fiber foods, they start losing weight. As we get people healthier, they move towards their natural body size, their healthy body size. But generally, yes, we can go into cholesterol, but I don't go into like Is high cholesterol good? High cholesterol is generally, I'm going to say, it's never a good sign. It's a sign of toxicity. LDL cholesterol has retinol in it. Did you know that? Weird that LDL is the bad cholesterol then. Interesting. Now, low cholesterol. So I'll hit. This is the last thing I'm going to hit on. But low cholesterol in somebody who is not healthy, who didn't earn it, is bad. Now, low cholesterol in somebody who has earned it properly, like let's say Grant Genereux. Grant Genereux, he got his cholesterol numbers back from the doctor a couple years ago, and his doctor said, you have the cholesterol levels of like a 5-year-old, which means it was really low. Like he was like 100, total cholesterol was like 120 or something like that. Crazy low. And Grant's doing just fine. He earned it. Low. So this is why we can't just say, I don't make just generalizations. Everything needs context. Okay. But there is no such thing that I know of. Like when people say, oh, you need cholesterol to make hormones. And I say, can you show me any research where it was shown that people somehow, because your liver makes 80% of your cholesterol, right? Wow, your liver makes 80% of your cholesterol. Your liver's where toxins are stored. LDL cholesterol has vitamin A in it. Are you following me here? So generally, high cholesterol tends to be in an over pattern. There's a lot of toxins. Overs are better at making bile, and we're going to tend to see higher numbers and stuff. Undertypes are the opposite. But yeah, high cholesterol is never a good situation. But I would, for somebody, let's say I had a new client coming to me, who's going to be a better situation? I mean better by like better of the two bad situations. The better situation would be high cholesterol. The worst situation would be a sick person with low cholesterol. So, but we don't just go across the board saying it. But I was saying before, people say that, oh, you need cholesterol to make hormones. And I go, show me any evidence in the research of somebody's liver being unable to make enough cholesterol to make their hormones. Can you please show me that? Because people out there who love to justify their toxicity and their high cholesterol levels will say, oh, you need cholesterol to make hormones. So if you want to have high hormones, you got to take in lots of cholesterol. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Can somebody show me that raising your cholesterol makes more hormones? Or that there's actually a thing as a cholesterol deficiency, and nobody shows it to me. But we'll go into it. I'm going to have Kelsey help me on that one, because Kelsey will help me with the nicotinic acid part of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My cholesterol level is looking really good now since I got on the nicotinic acid. I'm working on figuring out, putting together. Kelsey and I have another show to do on PGP inhibitors and all that stuff. And then I'll get to my labs show. So. Oh, Mike, M&M's Professional Window Cleaners Limited. His name is Mike. Okay, I'll try to remember that. So let's go back to Ramon. He says, and thank you for that, Mike. Thank you for that super chat. And thank you, Ramon, for your super chat. Episode number 125 on magnesium is one of your best ones. Would love to see one where you go into depth on zinc and then talk about your zinc product and its use. Thank you. Yeah. I might do that. I take this work very, very seriously. Oh, sorry. Shaking my desk. And what I mean by I take it very, very, very seriously is, let me give you a quick example. And the person who I'm talking about, he watches the show. He knows I'm talking about him, and he's not the only one who has done this. He was not the first. He was not the last. But with zinc, people start getting into, okay, so let me show you. Let me pull up a, let me do this. Let me move this over here. Let me hold on. I'll share it. I'm going to use my other screen, Joe, so hopefully you don't zinc hepatic. There it is. Okay. So, Joe, if you could show this one. Okay, so this is where people hear what I say. So Ramon, this is why I'm very cautious with zinc. Even with my clients, I have them do what we call the zinc experiment, where they slowly ramp up. And I give them a ceiling and I say, you don't go over this for the next 6 months because we need to see what it does. There's jagoffs on Twitter who are like, you need 100 milligrams of zinc every day. And it's like, oh my God. People in my program would be like, some of them who are really toxic, they're like, I can't even take 2 milligrams. They can't even take 1 drop of my liquid zinc. 1 drop they can't take. 2 milligrams. Nothing against them, but I take this job very seriously. So I would never say something as ignorant as saying everybody needs the same dose of zinc. That's why a zinc show is because let's say this research right here. Effect of oral zinc regimens on human hepatic copper content, a randomized intervention study. So they're going to give zinc supplements and they're going to see what happens to how much copper is in the liver. People are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh, I had actually pulled up this study. I had it in my tabs. And I thought, oh, I'll go over it since we're talking about copper and zinc and pregnancy. And it's not just that zinc inhibits intestinal copper uptake. It's not just that. Zinc helps, as they're about to show you, zinc helps kick out copper from the liver. Where does it go then? That's the question. So they used copper-64. So they put a radioactively labeled copper into their liver. Wait, but the liver doesn't accumulate copper. Yes, it does. That's how they do the studies, smarty. Come on now. So they wanted to examine how much 4 weeks of treatment with different zinc regimens reduced the hepatic radio-labeled copper content after oral radio-labeled copper administration. They took copper pills and it stored copper in their liver. I mean, how many times do I have to explain this to people? And test if alternative regimens were non-inferior. I think this is the politically correct way or the non-offensive way to say better to the standard regimen of zinc acetate 50 milligrams times 3 daily. So zinc acetate is an ass form of zinc. It is like the worst form of zinc you could take. Zinc acetate. Just remember the ass in the start of the word. And they were giving 50 milligrams 3 times daily. Some people here would just freak out. So the WD, what is the WD standard? What is that? Oh, Wilson's disease. The Wilson's disease standard treatment of zinc acetate 50 milligrams times 3 reduced the hepatic copper content from 26.9 to 13.3 of the administered copper. Zinc reduced the newest copper they put in the liver. Okay, doesn't it make sense that it's like if you're putting, if you're storing stuff in your garage and then all of a sudden you decide you put it in there kind of in layers, right? Almost like an onion, right? You fill up the outer layers first. And then as you come in, like you get to where the door is, you can only go in the door. Maybe some of you have closets like this, right? The closet is slowly filling up and you can barely get in there. I know somebody X in my life who used to have a closet so full she couldn't even go in it. So if you're going to clean out that closet, you would start at the most recent stuff you put in it, right? Because you can't go deeper into the closet because it's full. You have to clean out the recent stuff. So this doesn't mean it's digging out half of the copper in your liver. It's doing the most recent stuff first. So zinc gluconate was non-inferior, better It went from 35.8 to 17.4. So it's still about half. Zinc acetate, 150 milligrams. So instead of 3 times 50, they did 150. Went from 33 to 17.4. So that's about half too. And zinc gluconate 150 went from 28 to 22. Well, that was not as good. We're less effective. Listen to this. So Ramon, about why I can't just do zinc as a huge general thing. These effects were intra between people. In one person, right? That's in one person, and inter between different people, individually highly variable. Within one person, the effects were very different, and within different people, the effects were very different. Oh my gosh, this should be, as a practitioner, I look at this and I go, this is exactly what I see. This is why I don't just go out. This is why I do not go out on the internet and say, everybody should be on 30 milligrams of zinc picolinate. No, I don't do that because I'm not irresponsible. I take my job very, very seriously. And a lot of people out on the internet are like, why doesn't Dr. Smith just tell me what exactly to do? And I'm like, because I care about you. I will not give you the rope to hang yourself with. Quick example. Oh, wait, and 14% had no effect on any zinc regimen. Well, how would they know that unless they tested? We test, we don't guess. So what do? We test people, we look at where they are. We find out maybe if they've had any negative reactions to zinc before, or if they tolerated zinc great. And then we have them slowly ramp up in zinc dose to see how they tolerate the different zinc doses. And if they hit one dose where, let's say, they start dumping too much copper out of their liver and they get negative symptoms, then we back them off from that. Oops, sorry, that was too much. So we use history, we use labs, and we use their response. This is what people get when they work with me or Nathan, or hopefully we're going to have a new practitioner soon with us too. Won't say who that is, but this is what we do to get it right. Because I take it seriously. And if I were, so like, let's just use an example. There's a chiropractor that I know who came into the Love Your Liver program, and he started taking 150 milligrams of zinc a day on his own. He was not testing. He was guessing. And he found out, like I tell people, that generally zinc, do I believe in copper deficiency? Not really. Do I believe in zinc toxicity as a possibility? Absolutely. Where does zinc toxicity start in the literature in the case studies? At about 100 milligrams a day. That's the minimum of where zinc toxicity case studies seem to start. But you could have people who take 2 milligrams a day and feel bad. Is that toxicity? It may not be toxicity. They just don't feel good on it. So these are different things. He took 150 milligrams for a while and he got his ass kicked. He got his ass handed to him. And he came and told me about it because he's a man and he can accept that he chose to do that. And he took the consequences. And he told me I shouldn't have done that. And I was like, you shouldn't have done that. This is why I tell people that zinc toxicity is legit. And you can mess yourself up. It goes away fairly quickly if you didn't do it for too long. You just stop taking the zinc. It's not that hard. But doing a whole show on zinc, like I could go over the type of zinc I like, but then I get people who, I don't want to give people a loaded gun with no training and with no information. So they go out and they hurt themselves. I don't want to do that. So I may do something on that. I understand why people would want that. We're working on a new zinc formulation, a new type of zinc that is not really out on the market. And hold on one sec. I saw the comment, Joe. Let me get to that. Was that all, Joe? Was that all of the super chats, or did we have any more? Oh, there. No, we got Carol right here. Sorry, Carol. My brother has high heart rate jumps to 130 during rest and sweats a lot with cold feet. He is taking beta blockers. What do I recommend? What about CoQ10, chlorophyll, and nascent? I don't know how to say that word. I've never looked it up how to say it. Nascent or nascent iodine for low thyroid. Well, Carol, thank you for coming here. I can tell by your question that you're very new to my work. I have a whole show on iodine. I absolutely do not like potassium iodide. Nascent iodine is the only iodine I would use, but it is something that I do not use until we are very, very deep in me working with somebody and we actually think there's an iodine deficiency. Iodine deficiency is not happening in Western countries. It's not. Selenium deficiency is. But iodine deficiency, no matter what you read on the internet, it's not common. And vitamin A deficiency, iodine deficiency problems come from vitamin A toxicity. I think you should go watch my thyroid show from a couple ago. I went into iodine deeply there. Now, CoQ10, if you were to try it and it helps, that's great. If it doesn't do anything good, then don't take it. CoQ10 is kind of a band-aid. We want to make our own CoQ10, not have to take it. But if it helps short term, that's one thing. Chlorophyll is absolute garbage. Forget about it. Throw it away. Let me talk about chlorophyll, the supplement chlorophyll. If you go, for those of you who want to do the research, chlorophyll in plants has a magnesium in it. True. This is like the difference. So this is like an actual, the natural stuff is different than the synthetic stuff. This is an actual true difference. Chlorophyll in plants has a magnesium in it. The stuff you're sold in droppers at the store is sodium, copper, chlorophyllin. So notice how it doesn't say chlorophyll, it says chlorophyllin. Sodium, salt, right? What the half of salt, the molecule. Sodium, copper, chlorophyllin. It's a copper supplement. If you weren't around for this whole show yet to this point, copper is toxic to humans. We don't want it. It's a toxic metal. You can't avoid it completely, but you definitely don't want to be taking extra of it. Beta blockers, I don't know if CK is in the comments, but CK, we got her off blood pressure meds fairly recently. We do a whole approach. What is driving this problem? Toxicities and deficiencies. So what do? We fix the toxicities and we fix the deficiencies. This is most easily done and most effectively done if you work with myself or Nathan. And we do the testing, the hair testing and the blood testing and the consult, and then the 6 months of support that's included in the consult. If you go to nutritiondetective.com, I think it's either book a consultation or something about consultations is the link on the tab. And that's the private work we do. If you just want to do the members.nutritiondetective.com, that's the Love Your Liver program. But it's not just a problem like this is not simply going to be solved by taking the right supplement. It is much more important to people's health these days. Everybody's gotten into the what can we add? It's like the whole nutrient-dense foods. What supplements can I add? What can I add? What can I add? What can I add? The solution is more likely to be found in what can you take away? But nobody wants to talk about that because then they have to sacrifice. People don't like sacrificing things. They feel like they're not getting to do what they want. So, but that's where the results are. The stuff that nobody wants to do is usually where the results are, the hard stuff. So Yeah, that's that. CK, if you're here and you want to make any comments, yeah, CK was starting. She was really worried about her blood pressure, and she was working with me, and we kept talking about it in the office hours, the support that I give people, and we just walked her through it and just she had enough time in it to eventually see that her blood pressure was normalizing when she monitored it, and then we fixed it. Hold on. Joe says something's dragging down the show. I may not have no, that looks fine. Maybe I just have really crappy internet right now. I didn't even look at space weather. Okay, he says it's looking better. So did you seriously pay $50, Carol? My goodness. Well, thank you very, very much. I think your money would be his money. Whoever's money is helping him out. Well, and I don't yank people off blood pressure meds. We do regularly get people off of blood pressure meds, but we don't yank them off. What we do is we start doing all the things that we do to get them better. So we're like improving their nutrients. Potassium's a big one. Potassium deficiency is a big one with blood pressure. Magnesium helps the blood vessels relax so that they can expand and contract like they're supposed to. We just do the basics that we do with everybody. And then, and nicotinic acid, which we have the articles in the program. Nicotinic acid is a huge help with blood pressure and the elasticity of blood vessels. So this is where I would go. So I hope that helps. I can't, comment on his diet. Like, I mean, if somebody was drinking alcohol regularly and they have blood pressure problems, this is just an example. I don't know if he's doing this, but if they were drinking alcohol regularly, like taking things away, that's the first thing they need to do. Or if they were smoking or smoking weed or whatever, we take these toxic things away first before we start. Okay, because there's a principle that I want you to know in terms of this case. And this is especially important for anybody who's trying to help somebody else. The poison always wins. So if, let's say, just as an example, somebody was drinking too much alcohol every day, day in, day out, whether that's, I mean, they're sitting there. I think there was some MD who wrote some book trying to justify that like 2 to 3 drinks a day every day is good for you. The Psyop is coming back about alcohol being good for you. Any of us who are over our 20s know that 2 or 3 drinks a day will make you inflamed and slowly but steadily gain weight. It's anybody who's ever paid attention knows this. Like, you look at pictures of people who don't drink versus when they were drinking, the same person, the drinking person is just full of inflammation. Often they're kind of red because a sick liver makes a person red. And they get, like the old alcoholic guys, they get the big bulbous noses. That's their liver. So we can't out supplement somebody who's actively poisoning themselves. It just can't be done. The poison always wins. Like, could we improve their status? Sure. Are we going to fix it? No. The alcohol is eventually going to overpower whatever good we're trying to do. The poison always wins. That's it. So, okay. So thank you for that super chat, Carol. I hope you got something out of it. And Carol gave another super chat. Thank you, Carol. What is FMT with leaky gut? And she said, thank you so much in all caps. You are welcome. I just want to make sure I know when you put in, try not to put acronyms. So I make sure that I know exactly what you're talking about. So if somebody sees what she puts, let me see. I hope Carol's still here. What is... Oh, and Zendog said nicotinic acid, flush niacin. The only type of niacin that we talk about here, we don't call it vitamin B3. We call it nicotinic acid. Sometimes we'll call it niacin, but that means nicotinic acid, flush niacin. Nothing else. Should I say that again? Nicotinic acid, aka flush niacin, nothing else. I make this very clear, and then I have people come back and they're like, so what about nicotinamide? And I'm like, serious, was I not clear? Was I not clear? Come on. Let's put on our listening ears. Oh, fecal microbiota. Okay, got it. Okay, so the poop transplant. Le poop transplant. Okay. Okay. So FMT, fecal microbiota transplant. Oh, I'm very familiar with this. You want to know about the poop transplant? I actually thought about when it was getting popular, this was years ago, I actually thought about offering, since I was a pretty healthy guy, offering to, like, people could fly to Tucson and I would I would be the donor and I would prep it for them. And then they would, basically use my poop as their transplant, because then what the research has you do is you got to do, like, the only test, they don't do a lot of testing on it. They're like, test it for STDs and test it for like a couple other viruses, and that's it. Anyway, so fecal microbiota transplant, let me just go over that. So we'll go over how it relates to leaky gut. Fecal microbiota transplant is basically, you are either going to, and this can be done in a hospital or it can be done at home. You do it in the hospital, you're looking at, like, I don't know how many thousands of dollars for the doctors to do what you could do at home. And it's not like this is a sterile procedure that you need a hospital for it. So it's definitely not sterile. You are going to have a donor's poop. If you're doing the enema version, they're going to basically put the poop in a blender, put some water in there, blend it up, run it through a filter. Then the poop juice goes in an enema bag and you put it up your pooper. And you hold it up there as long as you can, and then you poop it out. And in theory, the bacteria from the donor are now in your gut. There are other places that make capsules out of the poop juice, and you swallow them. I'm like, ugh. Okay. Baby Ruth. Get out of the pool. Oh my gosh, sorry. Entertaining myself. Right, like Zendog's asking, can you make a living at FMT? Like, I don't know. Maybe I should. I'll just be like the ultimate poop donor. Anyway, maybe someday. So, what would FMT fix? FMT. Okay, so Carol, go and watch either episode number 53 or episode number 71 on this channel. They are both about the basics of toxic bile theory. And that is how you can figure out that's the foundation of what we're working on. The foundation of all chronic disease, in my opinion. So let's talk about leaky gut and how it relates to toxic bile theory and how it relates to potentially fecal microbiota transplant. Okay. So I'm gonna give the super abbreviated version here. I would highly suggest you go watch those other videos. Toxic bile theory. Your liver makes bile. Your liver is a filter for your blood. A filter means it takes things out of something else. By definition, that's what a filter does. So anybody who says the liver's not a filter, they don't understand what a filter is, which is really sad. Your liver filters your blood. It means it takes stuff out of your blood. Okay. Your liver is what I would call a sewage processing plant. So it's taking the sewage of your body and it is turning it into other things like a sewage processing plant. And then your liver is also a toxin storage depot. Your liver accumulates toxins. It accumulates heavy metals. It accumulates copper. It accumulates toxic vitamin A. It accumulates forever chemicals. It accumulates microplastics. It accumulates all sorts of things. So this is what the liver does. So knowing this about the liver then tries to get rid of all these toxins and poisons by making bile. Bile, therefore, is the most toxic fluid in your entire body. By definition. The liver wants to dump the bile. It goes to the gallbladder. It goes in the bile ducts. It wants to dump the bile into your intestines eventually, your small intestine. So that then the goal is to poop it out. Okay? Well, along the way, so here's the thing you must know about bile is so toxic. And as people get sicker, they're getting sicker because their bile is getting more toxic, and the toxic bile is what's making them sick. It's like this vicious loop. Okay. But toxic bile, I have shown papers that toxic bile regulates the tight junctions of the gut. Toxic bile regulates leaky gut. So, toxic bile could leak up into your stomach. It can go backwards up into your stomach. This is GERD. What we call GERD is not an acid problem. It's a bile problem in your stomach. I've shown how bile can be directly absorbed from your stomach into your bloodstream. Now you have the most toxic fluid in your body going into your bloodstream. Now, the bile can be so toxic, it actually eats away at the liver cells that make it and then leaks directly into the bloodstream from the liver itself. The bile can eat away at the bile ducts. So if it eats away at the bile ducts inside the liver, the little teeny tiny ones, then it can leak directly into the blood from the liver. If you get into the big bile ducts, the common bile duct and the gallbladder and these other things, if those leak, if it eats holes in those, that's called extrahepatic cholestasis. That leaks into the bloodstream too. And then the bile, like I just told you, regulates tight junctions in the intestines. If the bile goes down into bile goes down into the intestines and it eats holes in the intestines, then it goes directly into the bloodstream from there. So those are the ways that the bile can leak into the blood. Now, one other thing that I want to cover, I always want to cover this when we go over vitamin A and toxic bile theory. This is very, very important. Vitamin A in your body, when you eat it, turns into what's called retinoic acid, especially all trans retinoic acid, which is also known as retin-A or tretinoin. Okay. Dermatologists and estheticians will use all trans retinoic acid and put it on people's faces as what they call a yellow chemical peel. They'll call it a yellow peel, but it's a form of chemical peel. What is that retinoic acid, which is the active form of vitamin A, doing to people's faces? It is eating away the top several layers of skin. One paper I have says that it is used to induce controlled wounds in the skin. So when they put it on your face, they can control the dose. So it doesn't eat away all your face, I guess. It eats away some of your face, but not all your face. So they're putting something on people's faces in a controlled manner to eat away layers of skin. So what do you think happens when there's tons of vitamin A in your bile? Because that's how your body would get rid of it. And you now have chemical peel in your intestines. Do you think that could cause leaky gut? I'm pretty sure it can. And there's papers out there saying, yeah, this is definitely possible. I mean, it just makes sense. It eats away at layers of skin. So we have the toxic bile can eat through it, and vitamin A can eat through it. Okay. So then, FMT, what could FMT change? So when your liver makes bile and it goes into the intestines, then that bile is going to interact with your gut bacteria. Now, over time, as people become more toxic, the gut bacteria families in your gut can change. Obviously, it would make sense that if the bile was really toxic, at first it's probably going to kill the bacteria that can't handle it. And then the bacteria that can handle it are going to stick around. Well, the gut bacteria, if you have the wrong gut bacteria going on in your gut, it can actually make the bile even more toxic. It turns what are called primary bile acids into secondary bile acids, and these are the most toxic. So your gut biome then can make the bile even more toxic, and then we reabsorb about 95% of the bile in a normal diet back into what's called the enterohepatic circulation. It's absorbed back into the bloodstream, a very specific part of the bloodstream that goes right to the liver. And it does the cycle again. The entero means gut, hepatic means liver. Enterohepatic circulation is like a circle in your bile. I call it the bile loop. Okay? So then that same bile is going to come back down into your intestines again to eat away at your intestines and feed the gut biome problem. So, FMT, what would FMT affect then? Which part of the bile loop? It's going to affect the gut biome. So could it shift the gut biome? Sure. Does it make sense that a healthier person probably has a better gut biome and is less toxic in their liver and has less toxic bile? Sure, yeah. So could it shift something in another person? Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember talking to somebody who had a lot of gut problems, and I was telling them, have you ever heard of this fecal transplantation? And she was like, oh yeah. Have you seen all the negative stories on the internet about it? And I was like, wait, I remember in the early days, it was all positive. And apparently now, if you start going and looking out there, you got a lot of DIYers who maybe aren't going to test their friends, or maybe their friend doesn't tell them they have a gut problem or whatever. Or think about this. Invasive species with animals, right? Or plants. You bring in, let's say you got two people, and one of them has a gut bacteria that is really not going to do good things in this person, but you have no idea what you're doing. And put it this way, modern medicine and gut biome, they don't know what the heck is going on. Like, they're just like, eat yogurt. Like, that's the... they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. So, invasive species, right? You get the wrong species coming into another area where it's not supposed to be, but it could thrive there and take over. Oh, that would be bad now, wouldn't it? How do you know what you're going to introduce via the poop juice? You don't, because nobody's going to do that testing, and nobody would even know. So, when she told me to go look up all the negative stories about it, I was like, wow, that seems weird. Okay, and I looked and I was like, well, this makes sense. There's like, anything can cause anything. This is another concept we go by. Things may 99% of the time cause a certain reaction in nearly everybody. But then you have the 1% of people where it causes something different. I'm okay with that because I trust that people are telling me the truth. I don't assume people are lying to me. There's no benefit to them if they lie to me. If they want to hide things and lie to me, it only hurts them. So I always, unlike your MDs who are like assuming you're lying, they're like, or like your personal trainer where you're like, look, I'm eating exactly what you say and I'm doing all my exercise and I'm still gaining weight. And the trainer's like, you've got to be lying. And I'm like, wow, that's a hell of a thing to assume. Like if the person is lying, they're only hurting themselves. But if they aren't lying, then there's something going on. So anyway, yeah, that's leaky gut. I've been over leaky gut. If you were to, I don't know if we have a leaky gut show. Maybe I should do a leaky gut show. Maybe I'll do that. That would be a good one. And then I could answer this question. I could be like, just go watch the leaky gut show. I could do leaky gut with like magnesium deficiency, leaky gut with potassium deficiency, leaky gut with all the stuff. So let's see. Were there any other super chats? I got to get going here to my other stuff. I don't see any more super chats. There was one comment that Joe wanted me to get to. Let me find it on my phone. 19 notifications. My goodness. Okay, let me find it. Okay. Ciparane Pintelli says, cows accumulate retinoids and iron like a mofo. This was a chat in the live chat that Joe found. I worked in Western farms for 4 years. It is not natural for a cow to eat grass 12 months a year. Grass is a mega bomb of beta carotene. So, wait, Cyprian, if you're still here, like, tell me what a natural, like, short form, a natural diet in a year would be. Can you do that, like short form? Okay, let me see this. If a cow in my country eats grass plus other weeds for 3 to 4 months, then eats loads of insoluble, nasty hay and fiber from corn trunks. Okay, so, but I mean, like, I want to know. Like, I talk about the cows down in Mexico when I was a kid, when we would drive down there, and the cows were like, you could see their ribs. The cows were eating desert brush, and walking around all day trying to find. I mean, it's like some of it was like Star Wars sand, like the sand dunes. It's like just flat with a blow sand, if you know what that means. And these cows had hardly any fat on them. So, Joe tells me nascent. It's nascent iodine. I've had one person where I talked to her about a couple people I've talked to about iodine supplementation. Only one of them actually benefited. Just so you know, if you're ever going to supplement iodine, if you have an iodine deficiency, you just need this is going to sound funny to you. You just need the RDA. If you're actually truly iodine deficient, the RDA will make you feel amazing. Taking milligrams worth of iodine, they're poisoning you. They're absolutely poisoning you. So I think that's all of it. We started at, it's only been 2 hours. I'll take a couple more questions. I'm going to start at the top. Remember, if you want to get your question answered, the best way to do that is a super chat, because those are the ones I get to first. Otherwise, I start at the top of the list. So if you see any super chats, just let me know as soon as they're there. Otherwise, we start at the top. I'm not going to say hi to everybody, but hello, everyone, and at once, and then Happy New Year. 2024 is going to get weird. I'm sure of it. It's going to get weird pretty fast, I think. So let me see. Oh yeah. So what we try to do, I wanted to go over this because Matt V was asking about links and stuff like that. And I know okay. So when I show the study, so if you guys want to look up the studies, like we had to stop posting who was doing it with me? Pierre does our timestamps. So thank you, Pierre, for doing the timestamps. That's amazing. You do great work every week. He also does it for the Inner Circle too. So we found that we couldn't put the links to the papers in the timestamps and still have enough room for all the timestamps. Because, I talk about a couple things along the way. You only get 5,000 letters or 5,000 characters. So we found that we couldn't do the links because that just sucked up so many characters. So in the timestamps for each show, the titles of the studies are there. So you can take the titles of the studies and just either put them into Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever you use and see if you can find the paper that way. Or you could go typically to pubmed.gov and plug it into the search engine there and see if you can find it. Otherwise, if you're watching the show and you see that I'm on a PubMed website, like the NIH, and you see the PubMed ID, PMID, you can copy and paste that little number into the search bar and it will find that exact study for you. I have found what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to, when I write tweets or whatever, I need to do this more often. I was just thinking I didn't do this today a couple times. Generally, if you link to the PubMed website, they keep that link. But as you saw today, when I went to that other journal, the link disappeared. So PubMed seems to keep their sites up. But like Sci-Hub, where you can find the free papers, sci-hub.st, those links disappear all the time because, the journals come and they say, take this down. And so they take it down and then it's gone. So what I'm trying to do and what you guys might want to do is if you're posting references, always post the name of the study, the full name of the paper, plus the link. So then you can always go and find the paper later. If the link breaks, if the link is gone, at least you know the name of the paper, so then you can search for that and find it again later. But if it's on the PubMed website, it generally doesn't go anywhere. But not all the studies are on PubMed websites. And if you want to find the full paper, you usually got to go somewhere else. So just an idea about finding papers, because I do want people. That's part of the reason why I show it live here, is so that you see it. I'm not making things up out of thin air. One guy saying that, what was he saying? Drinking out of copper cups grounds you. I was like, I'm going to need to see a reference on that one, buddy. Oh, and for any of you who, I don't know if I mentioned this, if you notice I was a little pinkish at the start of the show and I'm not pinkish now, that's because I was flushing from niacin at the start of the show. So, okay. So we got that. Let's see. Still going down here. Okay, Swift View Markets asks, morning all. I don't know what HNY means. Oh, is that Happy New Year? Happy New Year. I was curious if anyone knew if one could take the liquid zinc while pregnant/nursing. Okay. So this is another zinc question, right? Zinc is a big deal here. And okay, with the people I work with directly, where I have their testing, I'm the only person out there who does hair testing and blood testing for copper and zinc. This is very important because sometimes you'll see totally different things on the two different tests. You might see high zinc on a hair test and then low zinc on the blood test, and the opposite on copper. By doing both of them, we can get a better picture and we can at least address the worst case scenario. And if we understand hair testing more, hair testing is the one that can definitely get wonky. But like blood tests for zinc and copper, especially zinc, could be very, very affected by, let's say you took a zinc pill the day before. So I have people, they have to skip zinc for the day of the blood test and the day before, because it will absolutely raise your zinc and it'll make your zinc look better than it actually is. So usually, if I was, is it okay to take zinc during pregnancy? Okay. Pregnancy is a huge time of detox, or like toxicity detox. Okay. Women during pregnancy, a lot of their side effects or the problems with pregnancy can be from cholestasis, which is toxic bile leaking into the blood. And what does cholestasis, what does bile have in it? It's got vitamin A in it, toxic vitamin A, and it's got toxic copper in it. Women's copper levels in pregnancy in their blood go way high. Would zinc help with that generally? Yes. The idea that, zinc toxicity, I went over this before, is a legit thing. But also, if you don't have enough zinc to protect you from all that copper that's floating around, you're going to feel like hot garbage. Now, because pregnancy is one of those conditions that is like for a practitioner to make public suggestions about dosing and stuff like that, that could get me into a whole lot of trouble legally. So I'm not going to do it. But the idea would be, can you take zinc during pregnancy? Well, can you eat meat during pregnancy? Yes, you can eat meat during pregnancy. Does meat have zinc in it? Yes. So therefore, when we're talking about essential minerals, yes, you can take it. In my opinion, I'm not worried about problems with it during pregnancy because we're supposed to have it. If I had testing showing, this is why, like with pregnant women, when we have testing and they're deficient, then there's no reason it shouldn't be absolutely safe because it's an essential nutrient and they're deficient. So no matter what they read on the internet about, oh, well, this could cause these problems. Well, we're testing. We're not just random Joes going to the supplement store and buying whatever's on the discount shelf. We're not doing that. Okay. So the liquid zinc can absolutely be used. Just always make sure for anybody out there with our liquid zinc, the zinc picolinate in water, it's a powder in water. It's not totally soluble. So you got to shake it up well so it's distributed evenly through the water, and then, do the drops. Do the drops fairly quickly before, and then, so here's what I would do. You shake the bottle. So this is not a zinc bottle, but you would shake it. Oh wait, do I have one right here? I have one right here. So you just shake the bottle real good, right? And then you get the zinc out of the dropper. You would squeeze it so you get new zinc in there. So you shake it up and then you get new zinc in the dropper bottle, and then you would take it out and then you would do the zinc drops fairly quickly so that it doesn't settle. I wish it was soluble. It's not, but I only like zinc picolinate until maybe I have zinc nicotinate, but that's a ways off. So I almost knocked that off the shelf. So anyway, can it be taken? Yes. Do I know the right dose for you? No, I have no idea. If you were experimenting on your own, who was I talking to? Where was it? Oh, Swift Markets. If you were experimenting on my own, I would tell you that I would, during pregnancy, if you were managing all this on your own, which I'm not managing you, I would not go over 30 milligrams a day. That's the ceiling I would put without testing and being pregnant. So am I saying to take 30 milligrams a day? No. I'm saying I wouldn't go over 30 milligrams a day. Would it be possible that if we had testing and your feedback that I might take you over 30 milligrams a day if you were working with me? Yeah, absolutely possible. Probably likely if you have real copper toxicity going on, but I don't know where you're at. So my safe dose, my generally safe dose for people where it's not going to be too much over time is 30 milligrams a day of zinc picolinate. Do I take people higher than that all the time with testing? Yeah. Can some people not even tolerate 30 milligrams? Yeah. We just adjusted that. This is why my program is not for people who just want to be told, how much do I take? I can't tell you that. It's like people who say, how much gas should I use to fill up my car? And I'm like, I don't know what kind of car you have. I don't know, how many tanks will it take me to get from here to LA? I don't know. How many miles do you get to the gallon? But that's why all of a sudden different cars, different people need different amounts of things to run well. Just like that zinc study said, right? There was huge intra within the same person to different responses to different zincs. and inter-individual, so between people, there was huge differences. This is why anybody who just gives a straight recommendation on zinc dosing to everybody, they have no idea. That's a sign they have no idea what they're doing. No idea. So I hope that helps. Okay. Yes, as Joe was saying, let's all like the show. Make sure to like and subscribe. We actually, I think it said we had 316 new subscribers in the last 30 days, which I believe is potentially record territory. So please keep telling your friends about it. Send them the links. Tell them to come watch the live stream. If they can. If they can't, then, just get them to watch it later. But just make sure it helps the show and the algorithms to, if you like and subscribe and comment. Doesn't matter what the comment is. Put an emoji, whatever. We could do, I forget his name. He puts a W after each one. I love that one. And then I forget the other guy's name who puts, every show, if it's like a show 127, he puts 127 times brilliant. Love, you guys who put like the same thing each time or the little variations on it. I love that. Just keep doing it. It helps. So, let's see. Still going through here. Let's see. Adam says, I was just watching episode 100 on Weston A. Price was the exact rebuttal I needed to continue the conversation. Good. Somebody was posting on Twitter saying, you and Paul Saladino should have a debate and a conversation. And I'm like, I would come in there. I would get some of his supplements, organ meat supplements, and I would then have them third-party analyzed, and I'd be going over, why do these contain all these toxic metals? I'd be getting it analyzed for like forever chemicals. I'd be getting it analyzed. It would be ugly. And I would be coming in with all of my liver vitamin A toxicity studies in humans and animals, and copper toxicity stuff. I'd be coming in with all sorts of stuff. Like Grant and it was funny. Saladino did a video on, can you get vitamin A toxicity from liver? And Grant went through, I don't know if he did it. I don't think he did a video on it, but he went through Grant Genereux of ggenereux.blog. He's the guy who got me into vitamin A toxicity, but he was like, Saladino quotes this line, but the line right before it that connects to it, like totally contradicts the line he just said. So it was like within the same paper, Saladino ignored all of the toxicity references, just completely ignored them. And he was like, yeah, everything looks fine as long as you're not supplementing vitamin A. I was like, wow, that's horse shit. What can I say? So I'd be there with all of my stuff. But I told people, I said, Saladino's been tagged like tens of times, if not over 100 times, to have a debate with me or a discussion or a conversation or whatever. It's not going to happen. He's got too much at stake. Adam's saying a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is recommended, but hard to achieve without supplements. Actually, Kelsey and I believe that the problems with most fatty acids in the body is toxicity or deficiency getting in the way of the body converting the fatty acids into what it wants. Kelsey found a study on a lack of niacin causing this. And I've always suspected that vitamin A caused a problem, and vitamin A toxicity and niacin nicotinic acid deficiency go hand in hand. So it all made sense to me when I saw the nicotinic acid study. They just haven't studied it with vitamin A toxicity yet. So yeah, I'm not what we do. Where did the omega-3 and the omega-6 imbalance come from? It came from added fats, oils. It didn't come from foods. And we have plenty of people thriving with no fish. They just eat, red meat that is grown and fed as well as we can get. you know. Yeah, I just don't trust. I mean, when you see the pharma cartel come out with fish oil, immediately you should go, wait, where's the man behind the curtain? They just turned fish oil into a pharmaceutical. And then what did they do with nicotinic acid, niacin? They put it in these terrible, like, sustained release things that were actually toxic to people. There's a paper that said that the niacin in it, when they had toxicity reactions to the nicotinic acid, it was to the extended release stuff that they put in there. Hey, this is why in my supplements, we don't add additives and fillers, because that stuff is bad for you. But yeah, those nicotinic acid studies, they did a sustained release or an extended release and all that stuff. And when they saw negatives, they actually compared it to immediate release or crystalline nicotinic acid, and they didn't find that in the crystalline nicotinic acid. So it was, why did they put it in the sustained release or the extended release? So people wouldn't flush. Okay. If you're scared of the flush, you may or may not get the benefits of nicotinic acid. That's your choice. You don't have to drive. You could walk everywhere. It might take you a lot longer. You have that choice. We all make choices every day. So, let me see. Vic Songwriter says only Andy Cutler's frequent low-dose chelation protocol will address extreme mercury toxicity. Nothing else will help, and people will never get better without it. Yeah, gonna have to disagree with you there. I have a woman who is severely mercury toxic, severely. And we simply added nicotinic acid. Kelsey, can you get that mercury paper? If you're here, we simply added nicotinic acid to her stuff. And the funny thing was she was telling us that in the past she had taken chromium polynicotinate and she felt amazing on it. This woman has to live outside and try to avoid EMF, and she can't be in houses because of her chemical sensitivity. Like, this woman is like forced out of modern life a lot. And she was down to like 4 foods. And I'm working with her doing this, and she's getting better doing the whole detox program. And then all of a sudden she tells me about the I tell her about the nicotinic acid, and she goes, well, yeah, so the only thing she's ever felt better on was chromium polynicotinate. It wasn't the chromium, it was the nicotinic acid. That's the nicotinate. When you bind nicotinic acid to something, it's called a nicotinate. Which, the funny thing is, in the protocol world, mitosynergy, the supposed bioavailable copper that you can buy, is copper nicotinate. Now that you know all about copper and nicotinic acid, do you think it's the copper doing the work? I can tell you that I saw the lawyer who wrote the paper to get mitosynergy approved as a supplement. He specifically wrote in the paper that when the copper nicotinate hits the stomach acid, it breaks apart into nicotinic acid and copper. They had to show that to get it approved. So you're not taking copper nicotinate, is not going anywhere in your body. It's copper and nicotinic acid. And the people are probably getting benefits from the nicotinate, the nicotinic acid. That's how deficient people are. But they're buying a super expensive copper supplement. Okay. Mikey says, if someone who is not on the LYL program and is pregnant, is it still worth taking some zinc? I mean, like I said, I just zinc picolinate, and people who are not testing, I limit them to 30 milligrams a day. So other decisions around that are up to you. If you're not in the program and getting feedback from other members, or if you're definitely not if you're not working with me and I don't have testing on people. So let's see. Just Andy says, yes, I've done all the wrong things. Maybe someday I should go through all the wrong things I've done in my life. Like, I have pretty much poisoned myself with nearly every form of vitamin A you can do. I'm just, the reason I'm here is because I'm good. I like to think I'm good at recognizing problems quickly, so I didn't mess myself up too bad. I was able to recognize that things were not working, and as you can tell here, I'm pretty quick on calling BS on things. Like if somebody says, "Oh, you're just detoxing, that's why you feel like crap," I was like, "Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks now. That doesn't make any sense. I'm like losing weight. I'm losing muscle. I don't like this. This is not good. I don't feel good. I don't like what you're making me eat. This sucks." Or like one day, I'm actually fairly intuitive, and one day I was going and I was looking at my supplement box. I was like, why am I so stiff? This is horrible. And I'm looking at, and like my intuition, I was just looking to see like which one is it, and my eyes just focused on the vitamin D. I was like, oh, it's that one. And I took it out and I felt better. Or like when I paid attention to when I was taking boron supplements, and I was so stiff, I was like a 90-year-old man. Stop the boron supplements, the stiffness is gone in 2 days. You don't need, boron's not an essential mineral, folks. You don't need it. Boron's a band-aid for other problems. So anyway, Ashlyn asks, can zinc cause acne to get worse if you are very copper toxic? That's quite possible. It's quite possible. I tried liquid zinc for a few weeks because my acne did not improve after 2 months on the Love Your Liver program, but the acne got even worse with zinc. Okay, so yeah, pretty toxic. I would say actually the first thing, Ashlyn, that you would want to go read is the nicotinic acid articles, because did you see my acne show? I have on the Love Your Liver live stream, there was one specifically on acne. And I went over the research on how acne is actually a nicotinic acid deficiency. So Kelsey may be making some topical. I think she may be, I don't know if the recipes are already in the Love Your Liver program for topical nicotinic acid, but you could go topical. You could also go internal. I mean, I would do both. But yeah, that's where I would, if you weren't, yes, you can. Okay, folks, this is the important thing. It is the toxicity in your blood from your toxic bile leaking into your blood from your liver. You know, the liver makes the bile, toxic bile leaks into your blood. It goes everywhere. It causes problems. Remember how I just did the study where zinc reduced the liver copper concentration? How does the liver get rid of copper? It puts it in the bile. What if the liver, you start taking more zinc, your liver starts, so zinc is going into your liver now, because your liver is either going to have zinc or copper. You're going to have one or the other. Zinc would be better than copper. So the zinc goes into the liver and it kicks out a copper. Where does that copper go? Well, it goes into your bile. Then when you dump the bile, where does the bile go? Could it go into your blood? Absolutely. So then if you were taking, but you need zinc to protect yourself from copper, but zinc also kicks copper out of your liver. So depending upon the effect that an individual person, remember the inter and the intra responses, the individual person gets from the zinc could make them feel a lot better, could make them feel worse. What do we do with the dosing? We change the dosing based on the person's response, and also within the ceiling that we give them and within their response. You know, so we have their labs, we have their responses, we have their history, and we give feedback and we adjust. But yeah, could it, anything we do, so like it's a poison on the way in and it's a poison on the way out. So if you kick the copper out too fast for you, you could aggravate things. Absolutely. This is one thing where people don't understand, where some of the people out there who try to say that they got worse on the program, they were just pushing things too hard. Like let's say, okay, Ramon with the zinc. Somebody says, well, I took zinc and I felt like crap and I took it for 2 months and I just got worse. I don't know why you would do that after listening to me. I don't know why. I don't know you. I didn't mean you like Ashlyn. I mean, I don't know why someone would do that after listening to me, where I say, doc, it hurts when I do this. Don't do it. If you don't feel good on a supplement like zinc, stop taking it or take less. And they took it for months. And then they try to blame me when I would have told them, take less or stop taking it. Something's not working. These people out there, they just refuse to take responsibility for their actions. And they're going to be out there. You know, it's like when you read Amazon reviews and you see people giving 1 stars and they're like, this thing doesn't work at all. And then you realize it's just user error. User error is everywhere. This is why there's no guarantees in medicine. Even with like simple aesthetic procedures, people can go home and screw up their aftercare. And then they come back and they're like, you ruined my face. And you're like, well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do after it. They gave you simple instructions and you didn't follow them. They're like, but it's your fault. No. People screw up things all the time. User error is everywhere. So Peter says making a dating site for detoxed and unjabbed people would make sense at this point. You know, I looked into that Unjected website, the Unjected dating app. It was not. It was weak sauce. I'll put it that way. And they even you had to go through like a practitioner and testify to being unvaccinated and all this stuff. Yeah. But it's also run by the same people who push ivermectin. That's a weird coincidence. Pushing infertility medication. I mean, a medication that causes infertility. Fairly obviously in the research, and lowers testosterone in men. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Jackie says, I just found you recently, and wow, you make so much sense, and I love that you're aware of what's going on. Well, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. It has to make sense to me before I can share it with you guys. And that's why when I think up new things, I'll say, I don't know if this is it. It's just a theory. And I couch that a lot. That's why it's called toxic bile theory. I mean, because obviously conventional medicine is not coming up with any good causes of disease, right? They're like, it's the RB8 receptor and it's not getting signaling from blah, 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 and this membrane, transmembrane, it's garbage. It's absolute. The smaller that medicine gets, why are they getting smaller and smaller? To hide the toxicity. It's whenever you see the word signaling, they're hiding toxicity. Like they're trying to say you need retinoic acid signaling. Signaling, what does that mean? They're saying you need retinoic acid. So they're saying you need Accutane and Retin-A to do things in your body. But then you look at the side effects lists of retinoic acid, retinoic acid, tretinoin and isotretinoin, the retinoic acids, and the side effect lists are outrageous. Unreal. But yes, I'm glad it makes sense to you, Jackie. Thank you for that. Eve says, what do I consider high cholesterol? Let me tell you one thing I don't measure in people, and I never will measure in people. Cholesterol. I don't care. Cholesterol is just a marker of toxicity, but it can be easily misinterpreted. I just don't care. I used to be 240 total cholesterol. No, I used to be 280 total cholesterol. My LDL was over 200. My recent total cholesterol came back at 174. And I know that my hormones are overall better than they've ever been in my life, based on my physique and my performance and all that stuff. So people who worry about cholesterol is a psyop. Like, it's just to get you distracted so they can give people statins. And you want to know what fixes cholesterol better than anything else? Nicotinic acid and avoiding vitamin A. That'll get rid of the triglycerides. You avoid vitamin A, triglycerides come down. You do your nicotinic acid, the triglycerides come down and the LDL comes down. But like, I just don't care about cholesterol. It just doesn't. Even when I wrote my eggs thread that eggs were bad, I specifically said in like the first or the second post, I said, I'm not going to mention cholesterol at all because cholesterol has nothing to do with this. It's the vitamin A and the lecithin, the choline. So Lynn says, I'm an under and finally eating twice a day. Awesome. So let me look at the super chat. Where is it? Oh boy, that's a big question. Dylan asks, do you think any of the B vitamins are essential? That's a huge question. I'm going to say, nicotinic acid, in terms of niacin in the diet, absolutely. Pellagra is a real disease. So nicotinic acid or niacin or whatever you want to call it, I do believe that is essential, but it's mainly to run detox. Like, you need the nicotinic acid, the NAD, to run detox pathways. B1 and what's the other one I'm thinking of? Folate. I've talked a lot with Kelsey about this. Kelsey really feels like folate is important in certain pathways. I think I found some research somewhere that, so here's the thing about B vitamins. They either, like folate, I believe helps with ALDH. B1 binds to aldehydes. Of the three that I like, B12, I just don't know about. I don't know how we need this massive amine around a cobalt molecule to do things. I just don't know about it. In my framework, people are going to eat plenty of meat, so a B12 deficiency shouldn't be an issue. And if people, it's like I tell people, if you eat red meat like once a day and you have an iron deficiency, it's not a dietary iron deficiency. Your liver's messed up. I think probably the same thing is true of B12. Funny thing, we store B12 in our liver too, which is kind of, And then they find high levels of B12 in the blood when there's certain solid tumors. Oh, actually, here, let me go find this. Okay, let me find it. No. I want the, let me go find my post, my tweeter, my X post on, this was a fun little cancer thing I found today. I'll go find it. Hold on. It's not too many tweets back. I think I did this right before I came on. Come on. Where is it? I didn't think it was this far back. Serious? Did this tweet disappear? Oh, copper and aberrant. That's what I need. Okay, I know the word. Okay. This will be worth it, I promise. I think that post disappeared. I don't like this. Well, here, I'll just read this one. Many cancer types exhibit increased intratumoral copper. Copper serves as a limiting factor for multiple aspects of tumor progression. Not enough copper limits the tumor progressing. I want you to understand what they were saying there. Here's the bioavailable copper people. Oh my gosh. Have a bite of this and choke on it. Here we provide evidence that levels of bioavailable copper modulate tumor growth. Bioavailable copper. Chronic exposure to elevated levels of copper in drinking water, corresponding to the maximum allowed in public water supplies, stimulated proliferation of cancer cells. So again, see, this is the search I did on Twitter. And here's another one. And de novo, that's from scratch. That's like from the start. And de novo pancreatic tumor growth in mice. Conversely, reducing systemic copper levels with a chelating drug clinically used to treat copper disorders impaired both. They mean tumor growth and copper disorders. Yeah. Anyway, so B vitamins. Folinic acid is the only one I use. Calcium folinate. I don't use MTHF unless somebody already knows they really feel good on it. Methylation problems are toxicity problems, folks, and probably nicotinic acid deficiency problems. So I don't use methylated B vitamins. We fixed the methylation problem. B12 is sketchy. Folate and B1 and nicotinic acid are the ones that I would potentially have. The nicotinic acid is like go-to now. Low dose nicotinic acid is absolutely one of the first steps in the program. And if you want to know the nicotinic acid stuff, all the great articles that Kelsey wrote, they're in the program. members.nutritiondetective.com, the Love Your Liver program. There's like 7 articles. Like we don't go lightly on this stuff. It's not just like take some nicotinic acid and you might flush. No, we're in detail. We're going into buffering. We're going into taking it with charcoal, soluble fiber. Like, yeah, we don't mess around here. This is not some joke of a PDF health course. It's not some Gumroad, big font, huge spaces between lines. It's not some crappy Gumroad or PDF course. This is huge. And on that note, if you're not willing to do the work, if you want to just ask me, like, just summarize this article for me and just give it to me in like 2 sentences. No, I'm not going to do it. You're not right for this program because you don't want to put in the work. Like, we're undoing the poisoning and the deficiencies that were caused on us by multiple angles our entire lives. I can't give you a 2-sentence summary. So if you're not interested in that, if you're just like, well, my dad's sick. Can you help fix my dad? He takes 20 pills a day. Obviously, your dad is a pill taker and he doesn't want to do the work. And usually by the time people are really sick, the amount of work they have to do, so there were people who didn't want to do the work and now they're really, really sick, which means they have to do more work. Most of them don't want to do that. I'm sorry. It's like, I have the same problem with some of my family members. This is not just take a pill and get better. It's stop taking things so you can get better. And they go, you mean I can't have my nightcap every night? No, you can't. Drinking alcohol is poison, folks. It's just straight poison. Okay? You're taking metabolic waste products of bacteria and yeast, like the yeast pee and poop, the bacteria pee and poop. They have ADH and ALDH. They're making waste, and you're drinking it because it affects your brain, because it affects your liver. So that's how that goes. But the only ones I'm really thinking, Dylan, are potentially essential or that are really helpful. Nicotinic acid for sure. B1 thiamine HCl is what I use. Oh, that just reminds me. I should probably make my own. And calcium folinate or folinic acid, which is almost impossible to get now because they made it so that only pharmaceutical companies, it's prescription only now, which is weird that they would limit it. They took a vitamin away from people. A very specific form. Funny that it's the form that I like the most. Weird. And then the pharmaceutical companies will give megadose, like 15 milligram methyl tetrahydrofolate. They'll give you massive drug doses of methylated folate, which is the one I say I don't use. It's weird. Patterns everywhere. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I got to get going to the inner circle in the network. So if any of you ever are doing super chats and you wanted to get as many questions answered as you had, the inner circle is the place for that. It's inside the Love Your Liver network. $50 a month. You can ask as many questions as you want. I do it once a week, and you can, and I answer questions more in depth there than I do here because I'm not as censored as I might be in there. And if you want to know how censored I am, Vimeo kicked me off of their platform for videos that were never made public. They were like my inner circle videos. And I paid them money to host, and they kicked me out. So if that tells you what I go over in the inner circle and you want to hear that stuff, that's available. So anyway, that's everything for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't try to take vitamin A for fertility. Don't try to take copper for fertility. Don't eat fish and shellfish and get your amalgam fillings out of your mouth so you get the mercury out, because that's not good for fertility. And generally, if you want to get pregnant, you probably need zinc, probably need magnesium. Definitely get enough protein. Those are the basics. If you want more stuff, you want to have like smoother pregnancies, get pregnant easier. Well, another quick story. I had a 40-year-old woman. 40-year-old woman comes and she starts working with me directly. And she's like, well, I don't want to get pregnant. And my husband and I are using protection. And I told her specifically, straight up, I said, if you don't want to get pregnant, you better really, really do it right. Do what you need to do so that you don't get pregnant, because you are going to become like hyper fertile on this program. She came back and told me, well, I'm pregnant. We messed up one time and now I'm pregnant. And I'm like, and she said to me, she goes, you told me, you warned me. And I'm like, I warn people. This is what I do. I tell you the truth. You're going to become hyper fertile on this program. I am undoing everything they want to do to you to make you unfertile. This is what we do here. This is why you come here and you go, I've never heard this anywhere else, because they don't want you to hear it anywhere else. And other people don't have the balls to tell you, even if they know, because they think that people will look at them like they're weird. Go ahead and look at me like I'm weird. Go ahead. Think it's going to faze me? No. We're here to stay. And they're really going to get mad at us soon enough. So, hope you all have a great week. I will see you next week with some other topic. Maybe we'll do zinc. I don't know. But anyway, have a great day. Bye now. Oh, we'll get out of here soon enough.